And welcome to the lucky 13th edition of The Square on Air. My name is Amber Griffin. Thank you all for tuning in to hear yet another great singer-songwriter and musician. We are coming to you live from The Square on a very hot afternoon in downtown Abbeville, South Carolina, and we are about to turn up the heat even more with our special guest today. Russ Fitzgerald began writing songs in 1978. He started out as a lyricist, but soon decided to learn how to play guitar and sing. He formed the Macon, Georgia-based roots rock band, the Deadbeats, in 1986, and they quickly became one of the finest acts in town. However, since 1989, he has primarily focused on being a solo acoustic performer, playing clubs, festivals, coffee houses, and even benefits in upstate South Carolina. He recently released a new album of 11 songs called Midnight Sunroom, which was recorded with bare-bones equipment during numerous late-night sessions in his old house's sunroom. The result is an intimately raw, compelling experience best enjoyed alone through headphones and after midnight. Recently, Russ has performed several times on Team Greenwood's live stream quarantine series called Until Further Notice. Please welcome first, from the Southern Fried Morning Show, your host, Benji Greeson, and veteran troubadour, Russ Fitzgerald.
Welcome in to another edition of The Square on Air. I am Benji Greeson. Thanks so much, Miss Amber, for that wonderful introduction. And we have a treat for you tonight. We've got singer-songwriter Russ Fitzgerald in the house tonight, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm so excited to get into your music here tonight.
Well, thank you. I've been a fan of the show since its inception. I've really enjoyed it. So
yeah, good deal,
it's an honor
man.
to be here.
Oh, very cool, very cool. We've also got some other cool stuff we got going on tonight. We're going to be giving away a signed poster here in just a little while. If you follow the Facebook page, The Square on Air, you can go and like that, share it, tell your grandma about it, and all that good stuff. So if you've been a fan of the Facebook page, if you've liked the page, you saw a post earlier this week about how you could win a signed poster tonight from the band Everclear. And we actually have the poster here. If I can, here, let's stretch this one out here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, come back here.
Man, I'm telling you, this thing's fresh.
All right.
So signed poster there from the band Everclear. We'll be giving that away tonight. And I think there were some instructions there on the post. You had to share the post, go like the YouTube page. So we've got a bunch of names we'll be drawing there. So if we draw your name tonight, here's the rules. You have to, of course, be watching, and then you have to comment claimed. All right. So if I pull your name out of this lucky little tin here, and then you comment claimed, this is your poster, autographed in person there by Everclear. But I want to get to Mr. Fitzgerald here tonight. Russ, man, again, thanks for coming on. I've been really looking forward to this. I'm a fan of your music.
Thank you.
Your album, Midnight Sunroom, it's really good.
Well, thank you.
It's really, really good. But I want to get to the bare bones, and this is kind of what this show's about. Mm-hmm. We like to learn a little bit about the person and kind of see what drives the music aspect of them tonight. Tell me about your first guitar.
Oh, it's kind of two guitars.
Okay.
Because the first one I bought off of a friend of mine's brother, and it had been a guitar left behind in a house that they had bought. And I think I paid $3 for it. And it was unplayable.
Yeah.
And so my father had a friend who had a music store that had closed down in Macon, and Dad bought me a Japanese-made classical guitar, all plywood, for like $20. So that was what I started out with.
Yeah.
So.
And was it just a passion? Once you got it in your hand, you just couldn't set it down, or?
Yeah, obsession. Well, you go from that to you go to pursuing the really nice guitars, and then you wake up one day and you spent like 15 or 20 years in this whole catch and release of vintage guitars playing,
Right.
and they come and they go and they come and they go, and then one day you wake up and the cost of vintage guitars is so crazy you go, okay, I'll just find a nice one to play now.
Right.
So.
Do you have a favorite brand that you enjoy playing? You've got a beautiful Gibson over there, by the way.
I have wound up, this is interesting because I've owned a couple of hundred guitars and played probably thousands more. And in all my life, I've picked up maybe 3 or 4 guitars that the minute you lay your hand on it, it's just like there's this electric something to
Right.
it. You know it. I mean, the one that was the best example was a one-odor 49 D'Angelico that was just vibed out because it had been played forever and it was wonderful. This brand new off the wall was just like, why is my guitar hanging on the wall of this guitar center? And I had to have it. And it's weird because, John Fahey talks about guitars being callers. They pull things out of you. And I've noticed that, vintage instruments, sometimes you'll play one, you'll pick up an old guitar you've never encountered before, and you'll find yourself playing in ways you didn't play before. It's like you're influenced or nudged.
Wow.
It's a weird thing. It's really weird. But you encounter it often enough, you start picking up on it. Mm-hmm. And this one, off the wall, brand new, was just like it
beckoned you.
It nudged me into putting together all the pieces of every kind of playing style I'd ever done.
Yeah.
And just draw it together and work into something that I refer to sometimes as bare knuckle guitar.
Okay.
So,
speaking of your playing styles and what did you kind of cut your teeth in musically? What was what drew you to continue the pursuit of music?
Originally, I wanted to play flamenco. And at the time I was in Macon, Georgia, and there aren't a lot of people that teach you flamenco guitar in Macon, Georgia, even to this day. And so there was a guy who opened a guitar shop and music studio there, Vance Music Studio, and I became one of Eddie Vance's classical students. And I did that for, a year, and realized that I just didn't really want to play classical guitar. And picked up a steel string, and I went through my I want to be Bob Dylan phase.
Yeah.
And I've got the harmonica holder still out in the garage somewhere.
But how many people go through that? Most musicians,
I would think a lot would. Yeah. And along the way, I became a huge Who fan. And then after initially not liking them, became a Stones fan.
Okay.
And then worked my way back. I went trawling through all the old blues guys in the 30s. Through the whole Chicago blues thing of the 50s. 50s rockabilly became a big passion of mine, and that featured pretty heavily when by the mid-'80s I'd moved back to Macon and put together the Deadbeats.
Right.
And that was a weird blend because I wanted to do 50s rockabilly, and David Goldberg, the drummer, was really happier playing jazz, and Tom Foster, the bass player, was really happier doing new wave and the Athens sound of the time.
Right.
And we managed to find some common ground, and it worked. So.
Boy, it's beautiful when all of those different things just kind of blend in and you create your own unique sound. That's magic, man.
Yeah.
It really is. It's magic. You mentioned the Deadbeats. We actually have a clip of you playing with the Deadbeats. Now, but before we go to the clip, kind of tell us a little bit about the band. And you guys were playing. When did the band form?
The band formed in '86.
Okay.
I had met Tom, the bass player. I'd known David, the drummer, in high school, and I met Tom, the bass player, at a party, and I ran into him on the street, and I had my Telecaster in the trunk of my car. I pulled it out of its case and unplugged, standing at the side of the road, played him a couple of things. He was like, yeah, I'll come play with you.
Right.
And we played, the first show we did was a festival kind of thing at Washington Square Park.
Okay.
In Macon. And we were doing some covers, and one of the unfortunate covers we did was Stormy Monday, the old T-Bone Walker song that the Allman Brothers used to do. But, we thought, well, let's mix it up. Let's do it like a reggae song. And so we go out there and we do Stormy Monday, the first verse straight, and then goes into this weird Peter Tosh inspired reggae version. And we finish, and you could hear crickets. You could hear my amp buzzing. And that was it. It's like, okay, next song.
Let's find something else.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. Hanging out with Russ Fitzgerald here tonight on the Square on Air. And we actually have a clip. Now, this clip comes from the Macon Earth Day Festival in 1990.
Yeah.
Right? And kind of lead us in to this. What you guys are, you're just up there jamming, having a blast.
Well,
right?
actually, I'm on my own in this one.
Oh, okay.
I'm on my own in this one. And this was a song that, we'll play the clip and I'll tell you the story behind the song.
All right, let's do that. All right. Let's go over to the clip.
South Atlanta, 19 years old. I can't go home anymore. Now I got this hostage in this 38. I'm trapped inside this liquor store. I see blue lights flashing at night through cold dead man's eyes. I see blue lights. I thought I could hit him at closing time. I could grab the money, run and hide. Got behind the counter, made a break for the door. Now he's face down right outside. I see blue lights flashing at night through cold dead man's eyes. I see blue lights.
Russ Fitzgerald here with us tonight. That was in Macon. You played a lot around Macon.
I played a lot in Macon.
You're originally from South Carolina, right?
Actually, no. I was born in Burlington.
Okay.
And lived in Burlington until I was almost 3, and we moved to Franklin County, Virginia, southwestern Virginia.
Okay.
Because my dad taught at Ferrum College, and lived there until I was not quite 16, and then we moved to Macon. And then I lived back and forth between Macon and Greenwood for several years, and then I've been in Greenwood the last 30 years, I guess.
Yeah, so. Very cool, man. Very cool. Russ Fitzgerald in with us tonight. You've got a handful of songs you're going to play for us, and your album that's out right now is Midnight Sunroom, and Amber told us a little bit about it in the opening credits there, but you put together a full-length album, basically all on your own, right?
Well, what happened was I set out to do the nice formal recording solo album. I was going to use the nice microphones and the nice software on the PowerBook, and so I started rehearsing for it, and as a guide thing, as something to keep track of what I was doing and catch little speech tics and things like that, I took a cast-off iPod, little iPod Touch, and a little clearance on one of the big auction sites, Tascam microphone plugged into it. So I had like a whopping $40 in the thing, between that and the software.
Yeah.
And I would just prop it up on the cushions of the love seat and sit in my favorite chair out in the sunroom, which, because it was an added-on room, had thick exterior walls, so everybody else could sleep. Yeah. And I could be out there playing and recording. And so I would just do these rough recordings rather. And I'd listen to them once and go, okay, and put it away, because in my head, I had this perfect, pristine version of what I thought it should be like.
Right.
And, perfection's your enemy.
Yes, sometimes it is.
And later on, I sat down and I set up the nice equipment and I recorded and struggled with it, and it just didn't have the spark. It didn't have the feel. It was too antiseptic. It was too much attempt to engineer it and not enough feel. So I bagged the whole project for a couple of years. I mean, and then I wound up in a position at work where I can listen to music through headphones, and I listed these recordings that I'd done, and I went, wait a minute, here's the really subversive thought. What if I was listening to this, it wasn't my music I was listening to, it was somebody else's music, and I didn't have these preconceived notions in my head of what it should sound like. What would I think of it then? And I was like, huh,
yeah.
Okay then.
Light bulb moment,
yeah,
right?
light bulb moment.
Yeah.
So, you know, little tweaking, little editing. It's amazing how well AI mastering works these days. And it's like, yeah, that works. It's not a commercial record. If anything, it's almost like it fits into that shelf you reserve for all the late night solo voice and guitar records, like Nick Drake's Pink Moon, or a recent one would be, well, 10 years old now, Hiss Golden Messenger's Bad Debt, which is a little masterpiece that nobody knows about.
Right.
Or Julie London recording the Alveola in the 50s. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. And the feel is there.
Right.
So
I think sometimes when you are doing it all, you get so caught up in the meticulous process of the editing and cutting, and that the part of the creativity of the actual songwriting and singing and the passion that has to come through from that, you almost lose some of it, right?
It's easily lost sometimes.
Yeah. So. You've got a song on this album called All That Sucks.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this song.
I went through a period where I was writing torch songs in the late 90s, and this one originally, I was still in the vintage guitar world too, and originally it was a very chunk thing with this beautiful old 47 Epiphone I used to have, and it evolved and became a little more meditative, but easier to play it than describe it maybe.
All right, let's hear it then.
If I say I'm almost over you, the saying that make it almost true. It's hard to tell. Sometimes that's just as well. Think of all the times we've had and try to decide if that's good or bad. Who could say these things work either way? I'll take a moment to consider what's been said. Let those words echo round my head. I know that all that's so still, that doesn't change how I feel for you. White lies, alibis, what do I do about you? Apart, or some poor fool with his broken heart. If I decline to accept another line, I'll just take that chip right off my shoulder. Act my age, although Rage is all the rage. I know that all that's so still, that doesn't change how I feel for you. Pet names, bedroom games, what do I do? When I know that all that's so still, that doesn't change how I feel for you. I know all that's so still, what would I do without you?
Russ Fitzgerald. Hey, you can donate to Russ here, paypal.me/Russ Fitzgerald Music. It's paypal.me/Russ Fitzgerald Music. You can find that in the comments and scrolling on your screen there as well. You play out a lot, and you've been playing around in different venues for quite a while.
Well, what's happened is, it's interesting because this is kind of a reboot. I played lots of venues years ago, and then I took a long extended break.
Okay.
And it's like, you know, you've watched a lot of people who've come here and they're struggling. Musicians are struggling right now because venues are closed.
Right.
And it's hard. And the weird thing for me is COVID came along, pandemic came along, the whole quarantines thing came along, and all of a sudden all of the barriers were gone. Weirdly enough, it's like, okay, it's a level playing field. How are you going to put the music out when you can't physically go out there?
Right.
And I'm looking forward to when the pandemic's over and I can go out and actually gig again and go pursue bookings and giggings. For right now, it's, okay, I can come out, I can be here, I can do the Until Further Notice shows or the Hometown Hodges shows or all of those. But I'm looking forward to going back out and playing venues again.
Yeah. Well, there's an energy that you pull from the crowd, you know, especially while you're, you know, on stage, obviously. But I've heard some writers say that the quarantine was a writer's dream come true. It's just you alone with your thoughts. There's plenty of time. And then others are like, this is the absolute worst. I need to be out. I need that energy. Do you fall in between any of that?
For me, you know the term, the kitchen table test?
No, I'm
the kitchen table test is if a song works, if you can sit down with a guitar and one voice at your kitchen table and play it, and if it works, then you've got a solid song.
Okay. And
so much of what we're seeing is, here's the opportunity for everybody. Go out there, do the kitchen table test, because you know, you'd be amazed at how much music is out there that you can see right now that this is it. I mean, it's nice that this technology, this technology that is greater than what we used to put man on the moon with.
Right.
And most of the time we used to argue with strangers and look at pictures of cats. But you can go out there and put music out into the world with it. So, and that's been a revelation for me.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool, man. Really cool. Russ Fitzgerald hanging out with us here tonight. All right. Before we get into any more of your music, we do have this poster that we need to give away. I'm going to give you the honors here.
Oh.
I'm going to shake up all the names. We've got all the names of everybody here that liked, that shared, that went and liked the YouTube page as well.
Okay,
and of course, we're giving away this Everclear, signed Everclear poster.
Okay,
Russ is going to, he's going to pull out this name
is that one
right
name?
here. There we go. Let's see who our winner is. Now look,
ready?
you got to be watching here, and you got to comment claimed if you want this really cool Everclear poster. Signed.
Signed. Okay, are we ready?
We're ready. We're ready. Drum roll, please.
Okay. Mac Story.
Matt Story. All right.
Mac, M-A-C Story.
Mac Story.
Mac Story
is going to be our winner here. So if Mac Story will comment claimed here on the live feed, then he's got this signed Everclear poster. How cool is that?
Is that the virtual come on down?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Come on down.
All
You're the
right.
next contestant. You guys, all right. So the band that you were in, the Deadbeats, you mentioned them earlier. You guys formed. You played heavy in the.
We played a bunch in Macon, the Macon area, and private parties and clubs and dives on occasion, and a bunch of festivals. I think the biggest one, the picture I think you've got, is from a festival that we started. It was a one year one-off, but it was the Summer of Love Festival in '87.
Okay.
And what happened was, Tom, the bass player, was kicking around the idea of, we should get a bunch of bands together and go out in a field somewhere and do something.
Why not?
And then David, the drummer, who worked at the local newspaper, was like, well, wait a minute, there's a drive to do events for promoting literacy in this area.
Okay.
Maybe we can look into that. And so David and I wound up on a committee with a bunch of other people, including the Literacy Council in Macon and Macon Telegraph and News and some other groups, and put together the Summer of Love Festival. And it was a day-long event. And we got to open for it, which is fun.
Yeah.
But we had the capper of the day was a bunch of former Stax Volt and Atlantic sidemen who lived in the area who'd come together, the guys who played in the 60s
Right.
on, Otis Redding records and things like that.
Wow, yeah.
Came together and played.
Yeah.
So.
You were quite the showman on stage. Flash the picture if we can here. I want to see this. I want everybody to see why I say that Mr. Russ here is quite the showman. And
That was a fun day.
you have a good time when you're up
We had
there, right?
a really good time. I was, talking earlier about how one of the clips that I've been trying to get and couldn't was we were featured on the Georgia Rhythm Show they used to show on the local cable channel in Macon.
Right.
And their closing credits were a shot of me from one of the gigs at Central City Park, going in slow motion to my knees and then rolling over on my back, still flailing away at that beat old Telecaster with my legs kicking in the air.
You're about a foot and a half off the ground right there.
Yeah.
Who's the guy in the jorts over there playing
The really short. That'd be Tom.
Okay, all right.
And
well, he's famous now.
he's famous. Well, he's a tough guy. He goes out there for fun and does these challenges out west where you go out into the wilderness with a pocket knife and an empty canteen, and you're out there for 28 days and come back.
Survivor type guy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
Yeah, make a house out of a bamboo stick. Yeah,
pretty
I get
much,
it.
much, yeah.
I envy those guys.
Yeah.
My idea of camping's the Holiday Inn.
Works for me. Works for me.
That's that air conditioner, right? Yeah. Oh man, Russ Fitzgerald here with us tonight, and Mac Story has now claimed the poster here.
Well done, sir.
This Everclear
All right.
poster is coming straight to you, Mac. We appreciate you tuning in and being a fan of the show. All right, you were telling me earlier, off camera, obviously, about a song that didn't quite make it on your record.
Yeah.
And it's called "Someone Else."
Yeah.
What was the reasoning of it getting the axe?
Well, I did not have a good recording that I liked.
Okay.
And I thought I would, because it's interesting, it's not a new song, but it still was, at the time of these recordings, it still hadn't arrived. And it's arrived since then.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
but
songs can evolve over time, obviously.
they definitely do. I mean,
yeah.
the whole record actually is, their songs going back to like 1981.
Wow.
And one of the songs on the record, I hadn't played it in years and years and years, and I was sitting out there one night, and it was the first time I'd ever played it without using a flat pick. And I listened to it later and went, yeah, that's the way it should have gone all along.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but someone else, background on this is Despina Jurgen used to have this place in Greenwood that was a coffee shop and gourmet restaurant and other things. And she would have an open mic night on Wednesdays, and I used to go hang out there. And my little challenge for myself was to have a new song every week.
Okay.
And this was one of those songs. And, any songwriter who tells you that he's not insecure about his songs is a liar. And, but I felt pretty good about this one when I played it. And there was an 18-year-old girl who used to come to do the poetry there, and she walked up after her and said, I felt that. I was like, Okay, we're
That's
here.
all. That's all. A singer, songwriter. That's a
There you
songwriter.
go.
That's all you need right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So. You reach for me in the night, and I roll into your arms. Means we've had another fight, but anger just shows off your charms. I don't send you love letters. You wonder how you felt, and we both know that it's wrong. Somehow we carry on, and how I wish you were someone else. How I wish you were someone else. I see your face from the side. Reminds me of someone I used to know. When you turn to face me, I just want to get dressed and go. Instead, we'll take each other roughly to some impassioned private hell, where we both know that it's wrong. Somehow we carry on, and how I wish you were someone else. How I wish you were someone else. I don't send you love letters, and I wonder how you felt. I wish I could treat you better. Perhaps that's just as well, as we take each other roughly to that impassioned private hell. We both know that it's wrong. Somehow we carry on, and how I wish you were someone else. How I wish you were someone else. How I wish you were someone else. How I wish you were someone else.
What a cool tune, man.
Thank you.
What a cool tune. Russ, you've got such a, there's just such a calm coolness, just a gentle flow that comes out of the guitar and your lyrics there, man. And that's not captured by anybody unless that's a genuine thing that's pouring out of them there.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I really enjoyed that. That's really good stuff. Really good stuff. Russ Fitzgerald here with us tonight, and of course, you can donate to PayPal. It's paypal.me/Russ Fitzgerald Music. Of course, that's in your comments and scrolling on your screen right there. And I'm having a blast here tonight, man. Tell us a little bit about what do you. Is this your day job? Is this what you do full time, or
No,
it's a passionate hobby?
Yeah, well, I walked away from it in some ways, because in 1991, I had a retail level job and was gigging a whole lot, and had discovered that I could make more money playing solo acoustic than I could with band.
Yeah. And
I had a lot of opening slots beginning to come along, and sometimes that worked really well because in 1980s dollars, you go and you play for 45 minutes and you walk out of there with $50 to $100. Hey, not bad. And I used to joke about how there was a place, a dive I played called Tolliver's on the Rocks, and he used to do these 5-band turnarounds, which was great for me because the owner of the club paid each act the same amount of money.
Okay.
And typically I'd walk out of there $50 or $60. And there was one night when he wasn't there and the manager paid each musician the same amount of money. And I walked out of there like $12.50. But that was okay because that meant I had like $14 or $15 to eat on until I got paid on Tuesday. So
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in 91, I came up here and I took a job working over at Lander.
Okay.
And I've been in the Lander Library for pushing 30 years here. And a day job like that and playing music don't always go along very well.
Mm-hmm.
But
getting home at 2 a.m. and then back up at
right,
6,
right.
that's tough. It's
and
tough
then
to
of
do.
course, and now I've got children, so it's like, okay, we'll work around this.
Right.
So.
But I'm sure there was always something missing when you walked away, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote. I
Yeah.
sat down and wrote.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it's the strangest thing, and it's true in music, it's true in a lot of other things. Sometimes you do something for a while and you have to put it down and walk away from it. And when you come back, very rapidly, it's like you never left it. And sometimes you come back to it and you've progressed as if you'd been practicing working all along. Mm-hmm. It's a strange phenomena, but that seems to be happening. So.
That's really cool. I didn't know you worked in the library.
Yeah.
I bet
in the back. They keep me hidden in the back.
I bet you're well read.
Enough to get myself into trouble.
Do you draw inspiration from characters or themes or in books that you read?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Well, the lively imagination thing will get you in trouble. That clip you played earlier, Blue Lights, when I wrote that, it's the end of the 80s, and at the time I was a newspaper reporter for the Warner Robins, Georgia Daily Sun.
Okay.
They're gone now. But I covered cops, and I covered city government. And so because of that, it was. Actually, it could be, because there's nothing quite like going on a ride along at 2 a.m. on a drug raid. Those can be fun.
Yeah, that could be fun.
So, but I'd been doing that and steeped myself in that culture.
Right.
And so one afternoon off, I've driven to Atlanta. I'm on the quest for vintage guitars again. And there's this barricade I have to go around because there are all these cop cars with flashing lights and very serious looking men with long guns. It's like, okay, so I go on around, and as it turns out, my next stop was a pawn shop, and they've got the scanner going, and there's an armed standoff.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, whoa, and I don't hear the full story, but I hear enough of that. And so I get back in my car, and I head back to Macon, and on the way down, the idea starts coming to me, and I don't even eat dinner when I get home. I have to sit down and grab a guitar and write. And I wrote Blue Lights, that song we have the clip on.
Right.
And, it's this dire, gloomy thing that, 19-year-old kid holds up a liquor store and it goes wrong and there's a standoff, and at the end it gets very nihilistic and, bad ending for everyone.
Right.
But, powerful. I felt really, oh good, I've written this really powerful, potent song. And then I went to work the next day at the Daily Sun. And what had happened up there, that standoff had made the AP wire. But it wasn't what you expect at all. You may not be old enough to remember this, but there used to be a Domino's pizza ad called Avoid the Noid.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, the Noid was like this gremlin sort of figure, and he was a cartoon figure, and big nose and goofy looking, and bad things happened to him, and a lot of mockery.
I could have been the poster guy for that.
Well, there you go. And so it was a very successful ad campaign. There's just one problem. In the greater metro Atlanta area, there was a man who, I will swear this on a stack of Bibles because it's true, his last name was Noid. N-O-I-D. His first name should have been Para because he was not the most tightly wrapped human being on the planet.
Well, yeah.
And he saw these ads, and he honestly believed they were mocking him and they were about him.
Oh, they were coming
And
after
he
him.
armed himself and stormed the nearest Domino's location in Atlanta.
Not good.
And took hostages.
Yeah.
And fortunately, you know, hostage negotiators are very helpful, effective people, and
Right.
nobody was hurt, and everything was calmed down. But that's the story behind what actually happened with that song. So,
Wow. Yeah. Paranoid much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being held hostage in a pizza joint? You're like, just trying to get some
Right,
pizza
right.
here, man. Just want some pepperoni in my life.
that's right. I didn't make the commercial, man. Put it down.
Oh, that is wild. That is good stuff right there. All right. You've got a song called Father's Day.
Yeah.
And give us a little bit of a background into this.
Well, Father's Day was, you know, if you live long enough, you meet people who have complicated relationships with parents. And as it turns out, I was actually in, I won't name the big box grocery store, but it was a big box grocery store, the night before Father's Day. And I walk in and I'm looking for something else, and I happen to go by the greeting card aisle. And it is slam packed full of women of all ages with this look, this really unsettled look on their faces as they're going through Father's Day cards.
Almost desperation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought, whoa. So that's where this one came from.
All right. Here's Father's Day.
I was grateful for all night drugstores and cough syrup from my little girl, so that my perfect princess could go forth to conquer the world. As I threaded my way very carefully through all the women with something to say, standing in the drugstore greeting card aisle the night before Father's Day. Almost shoulder to shoulder they stood there, working their way down the line, selecting and rejecting in silence with guarded faces and troubled minds, 'cause all those words about joy and fond feeling, not what they wanted to say. Standing in the drugstore greeting card aisle the night before Father's Day. 'Cause who writes these things? None of these cards will work. Press Happy Father's Day to an insufferable jerk. I love you, I hate you, I need you, please just go away. Please won't you come back to make this just for once a perfect day. As fathers, we're all just pale echoes of one who is Father of all. If we have any sense, we're just grateful if we're here to take your call. So now when I look at my daughter, I've got one more thing to fervently pray. Don't let her wind up in the drugstore greeting card aisle the night before Father's Day. Don't let her wind up in the drugstore greeting card aisle the night before Father's Day.
Man, I felt that one. I did. I felt that one. There is nothing worse than the night before or the day before.
Oh,
and
man.
you're like, oh, I got to do...
Yeah.
I got to make this meaningful. There's a pressure to it.
There is.
You know, I've got two daughters myself. I'd just rather not. Draw me something. Mine are still kids.
Yeah.
I don't need a card. not if it's
It's a weird thing.
That's so cool, man. Russ Fitzgerald here with us tonight on the Square on Air. All right, we're going to throw it back to Miss Amber here really quick. She's got our closing credits, and Mr. Russ has time for one more. So we'll throw it back to Miss Amber.
How about that, Russ Fitzgerald, you guys? Unfortunately, we are down to our last song already. If you enjoy these performances, please check out his new album, Midnight Sunroom, available on most digital and streaming platforms. If you'd like to support Russ with a tip or donation, those links are in the comments and on your screen. Thank you so much for your generosity during these challenging times for live musicians. If you are a business or patron of the arts and would like to sponsor or support The Square on Air, please reach out to us at thesquareonair@gmail.com. This and all past episodes are made available on our YouTube channel, and we'd appreciate it very much if you take a minute and subscribe to our channel over there. We have one more episode to go before we take a little summer break, but we are already thinking of how we can make the show even bigger and better with an all-new series in the fall. But first, make sure you stop by next week for our homegrown alternative country and rock singer-songwriter, Brad Dixon. Now, here for one more song, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Russ Fitzgerald.
All right. There's no alone like the alone that follows the sound when you hang up the phone. I know nothing I say to you is anything that you could hear, and so I'll sit in the silence and I hold the phone to my ear, and I'll still believe in you, and I'll still believe in you. What's the point of telling you the things you could mean to me, when the things I see in you are things that you'll never see? I can be such a fool when it's something about you, and then I shake my head over all of the dumb things we do, and I'll still believe in you, and I'll still believe in you. If it's a burden, it's one I chose to bear. I prayed that your silence never meant you didn't care. I don't wanna break you or bend you to my will, and I don't wanna shake you up or tie you down or hold you still. It's more than pretty words that might make you cry. It's about trying to tell you, to show you why, that I still believe in you. And I still believe in you. Oh, I still believe in, yes, I still believe in, oh, I still believe in you.
Another beautiful song by Russ Fitzgerald. Man, thank you so much for tonight. This
Thanks
has been
for having
an
me.
absolute blast. Really enjoy your music, and I know you're going to continue to put out songs. It's woven into your DNA. You can't help it, right?
It's there.
All right, that's all the time, unfortunately, that we have for tonight's episode. Season 1, episode 13 in the books, and we do appreciate each and every one of you for watching here tonight. Now, you can catch replays if you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just go to The Square on Air on YouTube. You can also catch the replays on West Carolina television. If you're a WCTEL TV subscriber, you can catch it on Channel 20. That's Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. and then Wednesdays at 12:30. That's lunch 30, not midnight 30. So 2 opportunities to catch it on television this coming week. All right, for Russ Fitzgerald, I'm Benji Greeson. Everybody love everybody. Stay safe. God bless and good night.